Well, this afternoon, Nampa police were searching for Shasta Groney and her two sons.
This video will cover the shocking story of a woman, Shasta Groen, that happened on May 16, 2005, near Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. She was just 8 years old when she was kidnapped, along with her brother Dylan, turning her life into a nightmare. And let me tell you, neither the police nor her friends and family could find her and her brother. So, how on earth did she manage to survive? What actually happened to her at the campsite where she was captured? Stick around to find out. In a small town near Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, Shasta Groen lived with her family. Her two older brothers, Dylan and Slade, her mom Brenda, and her mom's boyfriend, Mark McKenzie. They were a close family. On the May 6th, the clock was ticking at 6 a.m. when Shasta's mom, Brenda, woke her up in a panic. There was a man with a shotgun in the house. He tied them up with duct tape, and one by one, he mercilessly beat Brenda, Mark, and Slade, using a hammer as his weapon of choice. But when it came to the two youngest kids, Shasta and Dylan, he had different plans. He put them in a car, and they were taken nearly 100 miles away to a remote campground outside St. Regis, Montana, deep within the Lolo National Forest. Back at the house, a neighbor stopped by for a visit, but when he saw something was wrong, he immediately called the police. When the police arrived, they found their bodies, but there was no sign of the youngest children. The investigators looked everywhere on the property, desperately hoping to find any clue about where the kids might be. They also talked to family and friends, including Dylan and Shasta's dad, Steve, and a person named Robert Lutner, who had been at the house a day before the murders. Despite their best efforts, they couldn't find any solid evidence pointing to who might be responsible for this awful crime. On the other hand, the kidnapper was mad and started hurting and mistreating the kids at the campsite. Both tried to support each other through this terrible time, but the kidnapper didn't stop.
He got really mad, started throwing things. He took more of his anger out on Dylan and was really mean to him.
He would abuse him and then make me watch. And then if I cried, then he would abuse him worse.
He gave them drugs and alcohol, and when he thought they were not thinking clearly, he would tell scary stories about what he did to other kids. What he didn't know was that Shasta, the 8-year-old girl, remembered everything and was planning to use it against him. She came up with a clever plan. She knew that he felt some sort of connection to her, so she decided to act like she was his friend. It was a risky move, but it was part of her strategy to eventually outsmart him and escape. At first, her questions made the kidnapper act a bit nicer, but a month later, things got worse. The captor promised they could go home if they caught a squirrel. You see, another way of torturing the kids? Even Dylan caught one out of innocence. They thought they were going home, but it was a lie. He shot Dylan right in front of Shasta, and now she was all alone. After about 6 weeks, he decided to take her to a different campsite. Then one night, even though she had been doing everything he told her, the man gave her two choices. He put a rope around her neck and began to strangle her. It seemed like a dire situation, but she had a brilliant idea. She called the man by his nickname, and that's how she managed to keep herself alive for a little while longer. It's July 2nd, 2005, 7 weeks since the kidnapping. After gradually getting her abductor to open up to her, she finally sees a real chance to escape. Everything seemed like an arrangement. The waitress, Amber Dean, told her manager, who called the police. While waiting for the police, she pretended to have trouble printing the bill to delay the man. Other people in the restaurant got ready to stop him at the door if he tried to leave. Finally, when the police came, they asked the little girl her name. As soon as she said her name, they arrested the man, and she could breathe a sigh of relief. She bravely tells the police that the man with her is the one who killed her family and kidnapped her. Later, it was found that he was 42-year-old Joseph Duncan, a level 3 sex offender. From the age of 15, he had a very long list of crimes, especially molesting children. On October 16, 2006, he pleaded guilty to 3 counts of kidnapping and 3 counts of first-degree murder for Brenda, Mark, and Slade. He gets 3 life sentences. Later, he also pleads guilty to 10 federal charges related to the kidnapping, assault on Shasta and Dylan's murder, receiving a death sentence. After that, Shasta tries to move forward with her life. So what would you do if you were in Shasta's place? facing such a terrifying situation? Share your thoughts in the comments below.